What if the story everyone is arguing about is not what happened on that stage, but what people needed to believe happened? The night was designed for celebration. Glittering lights washed over a grand hall filled with the industry's brightest names. Cameras flashed like distant lightning. Applause rose and fell in waves. Award nights are meant to honor achievement, to pause and recognize artistry in a world that rarely slows down. But sometimes, beneath the polished smiles and rehearsed speeches, another kind of story begins to take shape. One that does not appear on the official program. One that travels faster than any acceptance speech ever could. They called it award night drama. They called it tension. They called it proof of something brewing beneath the surface. And by the time the night ended, one unexpected name had been pulled into the whirlwind. Song Hye Kyo. If you're still watching, subscribe. Let's get the story started as the world of your favorite celebrity unfolds.
Stay tuned.
It started, as many modern storms do, with a moment caught on camera. A glance that lasted a second too long. A reaction that seemed a shade too restrained. Two people linked by rumors, by fan narratives, by a nickname spoken often in online spaces suddenly found themselves under the same bright lights. Observers began dissecting everything. Who stood near whom? Who clapped first? Who looked away? The term Minkyo, born from fan imagination and speculation, resurfaced with renewed force. Supporters who believed in a hidden connection leaned forward with excitement. Skeptics watched with careful eyes. Neutral viewers simply tried to understand why the atmosphere felt charged in a room meant for celebration. Then came the twist. Song Hye Kyo, a figure known for composure and distance from public drama, was mentioned in the same wave of conversations. Not because of anything she said or did that night, but because narratives have a way of pulling in familiar names when emotions run high. Her past associations, her respected status, her history in the industry suddenly made her a reference point in discussions that may have had little to do with her directly. And that is how modern celebrity storytelling works. Lines blur. Context fades. A person can become part of a headline without ever stepping into the scene. Inside the venue, those present described a professional environment. Colleagues greeting colleagues. Artists supporting artists. No raised voices. No visible confrontation. Just the usual rhythm of a major event. Yet online, the story grew louder with every retelling. Short clips circulated. Slowed down footage invited interpretation. A neutral expression became a sign of hidden feeling, depending on who was watching. The same 3 seconds of video told 10 different stories across 10 different fan communities. Some claimed there was awkwardness in the air. Others insisted there was nothing unusual at all. The truth, as often happens, sat quietly somewhere in the middle, overshadowed by louder theories. What makes these moments powerful is not evidence, but emotion. Fans invest time, hope, and imagination into the lives of people they admire. When reality does not provide clear answers, the mind fills in the blanks. A narrative forms. Then it spreads. Song Hye Kyo's name carried particular weight because she represents a level of grace and legacy in the industry. To some, referencing her adds gravity to any discussion. To others, it feels unfair to involve someone known for guarding her privacy and maintaining professionalism. Yet once a name enters the conversation, it can be difficult to pull it back out. Award nights, ironically, are fertile ground for such storms. The stakes are high. The visibility is global. Every movement is recorded from multiple angles. A simple seating arrangement can become a topic. A delayed applause can become a theory. In such an environment, meaning is often projected rather than observed. There is also the human factor. Celebrities are expected to maintain perfect composure for hours. They are watched when they smile, when they grow tired, when their attention drifts. Any deviation from expectation becomes noteworthy. The pressure is invisible but constant. Those who have worked in the industry often say the real challenge of award shows is not winning or losing. It is existing naturally in a place where natural behavior is endlessly analyzed. One cannot whisper freely. One cannot react without awareness. Even silence becomes a statement to someone watching. So was there truly drama? Or was it the echo of anticipation from people hoping to see a story unfold? Perhaps the most revealing detail is that no direct statements followed. No clarifications. No denials. Just a return to schedules, projects, and the steady flow of professional life. Sometimes silence is not secrecy. Sometimes it is simply the choice not to feed a narrative. Meanwhile, fans continue their discussions. Some passionately defending their interpretations. Others urging calm. A few reminding everyone that admiration should not turn into ownership over someone else's personal life. Through it all, the award itself, the reason everyone gathered, risks being forgotten. Performances that took months to prepare become background to a 3-second clip. Achievements that represent years of work are overshadowed by speculation. And maybe that is the quiet irony. The people on that stage dedicated their lives to storytelling. Yet on nights like these, the most talked about story is the one no one officially wrote. If there is a lasting image from that evening, it is not a confrontation or a scandal. It is a room full of artists under bright lights, carrying both their talent and the weight of public curiosity. Some navigate it effortlessly. Some endure it quietly. All are shaped by it. As for the questions surrounding Minkyo and the unexpected inclusion of song Hye Kyo in the conversation, time will do what it always does. It will soften the noise. It will shift attention elsewhere. Another event will come. Another clip will circulate. Another theory will rise. But this moment remains a reflection of something larger than any one rumor. It reflects how deeply people care, how quickly stories form, and how fame transforms ordinary moments into global discussion. In the end, the biggest revelation may be this. The drama people search for on stage often says more about the audience's hopes than the reality of the people being watched. And somewhere beyond the lights, beyond the cameras, beyond the swirling speculation, the real lives of those involved continue quietly, far more complex and human than any headline could capture. And when the echoes of that night began to fade, what remained was not a scandal, but a mirror reflecting the strange relationship between fame and imagination. In the days that followed, the award hall was dismantled piece by piece. The red carpet was rolled away. The lights that once turned night into day were dimmed. Staff moved on to the next production, the next event, the next spectacle. For them, it was one night among many. But for the public, the night lingered. Because award nights do not truly end when the doors close. They continue in living rooms where fans replay recordings. They continue in comment sections where strangers debate meaning. They continue in the quiet moments where someone watches a clip again and wonders if they missed a detail the first time. The Minkyo question did not grow because of facts. It grew because of fascination. Because people are drawn to stories of connection, tension, and unresolved emotion. In a world where so much feels scripted, the possibility of unscripted drama feels irresistible. Yet those who understand the industry see a different layer. They see how tightly choreographed these events are. Where to stand, when to move, how long to remain on camera. Even seating can be influenced by logistics, management decisions, or timing. What looks like avoidance may be scheduling. What looks like intensity may be exhaustion. What looks like a signal may simply be coincidence. Still, perception is powerful. Once a narrative forms, it develops a life of its own. Song Hye Kyo's name continued to appear in discussions, sometimes as a comparison, sometimes as a symbolic figure, sometimes simply because her legacy carries emotional weight. Her career has spanned eras of Korean entertainment, and with that comes a kind of mythic presence. Mentioning her in any romantic speculation automatically raises the emotional stakes for many fans. But those who have followed her closely know her pattern. Careful, private, focused on craft, rarely reactive to noise. Her silence is not mystery. It is consistency, a boundary maintained in an industry that often rewards exposure. There is something telling about how quickly audiences connect dots between unrelated moments. A shared glance at one event, a past collaboration, a remembered rumor from years ago. Suddenly, a web of meaning appears, even if the threads were never meant to connect. This is not born from malice. It is born from storytelling instinct. Humans seek patterns. We build narratives to make sense of fragments. When celebrities are involved, those fragments multiply endlessly. Meanwhile, the artists themselves wake up the next morning to scripts, rehearsals, meetings, early calls on set. Their lives continue on a schedule far more demanding than the rumors surrounding them. The contrast is almost poetic. Public drama, private routine. Somewhere, perhaps, one of them scrolls briefly past a headline, then locks their phone and returns to work. Not because they do not care, but because they cannot afford to live inside every narrative written about them. The truth is, longevity in this industry often belongs to those who learn the difference between attention and meaning. Attention is loud but fleeting. Meaning is quiet but lasting. Award trophies gather dust, but reputation and professionalism build decades-long careers. And maybe that is the hidden story beneath the visible one. A room full of stars, each carrying invisible histories. Friendships the public never sees. Respect built over years. Rivalries that exist only in headlines. Support exchanged quietly behind curtains. The real drama is often softer, deeper, and far less sensational than imagined. As the cycle continues, a new event will soon take center stage. New faces will trend. New theories will rise. The Minkyo question will become one chapter in a much larger book of fan culture and celebrity mythology. But for a brief moment in time, people felt they were witnessing something significant. And feelings, even when based on speculation, are real to those who hold them. Perhaps the lasting lesson from that night is not about who stood near whom or who looked at whom. Perhaps it is about how deeply audiences invest their hearts into stories. How they search for connection in the lives of those they admire. How they hope for narratives that mirror the dramas that once moved them on screen. And, in a way, that hope is its own kind of tribute to the power of storytelling. Because long after specific rumors fade, the desire to believe in meaningful connections remains. It is what fills theaters. It is what drives series to global success. It is what turns actors into icons. So the curtain falls, the headlines quiet down, and life continues. Not with explosive revelations, but with steady footsteps forward. New projects, new roles, new chapters. And somewhere beyond the reach of cameras, beyond the noise of speculation, the people at the center of the story continue living lives far more nuanced than any dramatic narrative could capture. The stage may belong to the public, but the truth, as always, belongs to those who live it.